This is Sizzling, powered by Fit to be Trained, coming to you from the Deep End Broadcasting Network studios in the lovely Virginia Beach, Virginia, in the United States of America. You can find this program on deependbroadcasting.com and subscribe to this network's YouTube channel, Deep End 757 Broadcasting. Hey, all, I am Karen Dougherty, and you can also find me anywhere online under Fit to be Trained online, Fit to be Trained, blah, 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 everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I won't bore you with all that. But what's up, Steve?
Good morning. I have all your website stuff on the screen now.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
So they can look at that.
Thanks. Because it really is kind of simple. It's just Fit to be Trained and it comes up. I don't know where to start. Okay, I guess let's we gotta mention the Eagles. I wanted that to happen. And yeah, I really did. I really wanted that to happen. So I am very happy with that. And
the celebration is on in Philadelphia.
I know, right? I've been really busy. There was a part of me that was like, man, I wish I was in Philly. But you'd have to be young, I feel like, because that is a party city. And
I don't know. Yeah,
I'm too old. I wouldn't have fun. It's the streets are crowded.
People are shooting fireworks at each other. They're stomping on the hood.
Is there a parade? They might be just showing the bad stuff.
Friday's the parade.
Because we've got the mummers, man, and there's nothing. I wonder if the mummers are coming out. I can only hope. The mummers are so great, and I can only hope they'll show up at the parade on Friday. That would be great. But yeah, even when I was young, it's rowdy when we win a sports event. So even when I was young, I think I stayed away. It was fun to go into Philly, into the city for a St. Patty's Day. I'm Irish, but it was a drunk party fest, make out with everybody fest.
We're 1 month away from St. Patrick's Day. Can you believe that already?
I mean, that was a young yeah, I know. Can you believe it?
People talked about how fast or how slow January went, but if you look at it now, February is flying by. We're about halfway through February. Valentine's Day in a couple of days.
Yeah.
And then March 17th, right around the corner. And really, springtime is here. You wouldn't know it with the snow in the air this afternoon.
Valentine's Day is Friday. Oh, goodness. Where does the time go? St. Patty's Day, that's my father and my son's birthday. Pretty proud of that. And we are Irish. Oh,
really? That was my grandfather's birthday.
Yes, we are Irish. Well. And even my kid was like, damn, thanks, Mom. It's a good day to have a birthday. I'm like, yes, it is, son. Yes, it is. You're welcome. Today, I wanted to talk about motivation and discipline and the difference between and the similarities and how I have it in some areas and I struggle with others. The reason why I picked this subject is I was talking, I took my son to the barber and I was just sitting in the car waiting. And I was listening to our podcast. It was last week and I've never done that before. And I was, kind of shuffling through or somehow Joe Rogan came on. And he was talking about the difference between discipline and motivation. And I was like, damn, that would be a great subject to talk about. And then I didn't get to listen. I had to go or something happened or whatever. I got to hear him say, there's a big difference between motivation and discipline. And then that was it. And I was like, yeah, that's the truth. So that's what kind of got me thinking about it all week. And I was like, man, that is really a good subject to talk about. And I want to talk about the definition first. Let's do it. Let's keep it simple here. The definition of motivation is the internal drive or external incentive that spurs you to take action. It's the reason behind your actions, desires, or needs. So now let me jump to the definition of discipline. Discipline is the ability to stick to a plan, routine, or set of rules regardless of how you feel. It's about consistent action and self-control. And both of them I have, and both of them I don't have. And I think that stands for every human that walks the earth. But I found it interesting because it made me really think. Like I said, I didn't get to hear him talk about it, but it is pretty basic. Like motivation is going to make you say, okay, I'm in fitness, so of course I'm going to go to the workout thing. But I hate to use that because everybody would use that. But motivation is like, I'm in the mood to go to the gym today. Or I'm sorry, I'm going to go to the gym today. You're motivated, you're ready to go, blah, blah, blah. Discipline is when you don't want to go and you go anyway.
Yeah.
And I often want to go. I'm lucky. I do often want to go, but I often don't want to go. And sometimes I give in to that, but sometimes I don't. And that's discipline. So I do feel like I'm a very disciplined person, period. I kind of always have been. And not just with working out, just I find life to be easier if I'm organized. Maybe I would call it, am I disciplined or am I organized?
Well, I think you get satisfaction when you stick to your discipline overall. And like you said, if you don't want to go to the gym and you go anyway, 10 out of 10 times, you're going to be happy you went. True. After the fact.
Always. I'm in recovery, and sometimes I go to meetings and sometimes I don't. But one of the biggest things with that is they'll always say that when you don't want to go, you always get something out of it. And it's really like that for the gym or kind of anything we don't want to do. Often going to church. I can find reasons to skip church and then I go and it's really, really good, or not go to work. Like I don't have that choice because I have my own business, but I go to work all the time. But, you could maybe not go to work one day and that's a day that you would, because I think of the old bar days or the restaurant days, you don't go to work you go to work and you didn't want to go and you make really good money.
Right.
That's what
I've had those too.
Sorry, I struggled with that one. I stuttered, but that's what I meant back when I was younger, and I'd be like, oh, I don't want to
I've literally had nights when I did the hockey, like, same old hockey. I really don't want to go.
Yeah.
But it'll be done in 3 hours, 4 hours.
Right.
And it'll be fine. And then I go, and then they're like, Steve, there's a 150 person private party here. And you're like, oh, that's good. I'll be busy, which is fine because I'm here to make money. If I'm here to make money.
Right.
And then you walk out with like $500, $600 more in your pocket than what you planned on.
I know. That's a lot of money too.
Yeah.
I never made that bartending ever. I hear people talk about it, but I didn't bartend here in Virginia Beach either. I bet you it's really, because it's such a tourist town, kind of would be fun.
The good thing about mine is I always had the corporate events wherever I was bartending, because the baseball or the hockey team would host, company X, and they'd bring 50, 60 or 100 people or whatever the case was. And if they liked you and they were having fun, they were all tipping along the way. And then the big boss at the end, as long as you're kind of smoozing him and taking care of them, he or her,
you probably made tons of money.
They would kind of like double it.
No kidding. Now remind me where you worked at the stadium for a long time, didn't you?
Oh, yes. Yep.
fun.
I did the ballpark and the hockey arena and all the concerts.
And that's right up your alley.
For many, many
what
years.
A great job. Good for you. That was probably fantastic. The stories you could tell.
The stories I could tell are immense. I do miss it. But it would I don't know if it would necessarily be harder. I mean, I still miss it to this day. The money. If I could just have that job and do this podcast, and that would be great.
I know, right? Like I enjoyed my first job, I went to college and I was a drafter and I loved architecture and all that. And then believe it or not, I got sober and I started working in the bars full time. As soon as I got sober, because I was like, damn, I can come in here and make some serious cash and not party my ass off, And so I had a really good time. I did that for years. And it wasn't just about the money because, I made good money, but it was really a lot of fun. And I made a lot of really good, solid friendships that I still have to this day from those days. So that would be discipline. Going to work in a party scene and not drinking.
Yes, that would be.
There were times where I, because I wasn't always in sobriety when I was working I worked in bars part-time pretty much my whole adult life. Because you start when you're going to college, then you get out of college, and then there's times that you can't, but then you do it on the side. And then there's times I didn't need to because I made enough money, but then there were times I didn't. Then I had a baby, then I did it on the side. So sometimes, you have to have discipline in certain jobs, and that would be one of them. Okay, sorry, I'm getting off track here. Okay, so the source of motivation, it can be intrinsic, coming from within, in other words, like personal satisfaction or a passion. So for me, fitness is a passion. So I'm pretty motivated. Intrinsic, coming from external factors like rewards or recognition. So yes, motivation, like, going for a bodybuilding competition. I did that once in my life and it was so cool because what did you want? You wanted I was motivated by winning. That was really fun. I think team sports, you would know that from rugby.
Yep.
You're motivated to win. The nature of motivation can be fleeting and vary from day to day. Isn't that the truth? It often relies on emotions and circumstances, and that would be a big one for me. How are you feeling that day? That falls into discipline as well. And an example would be you might feel motivated to go for a run because you want to improve your health or because you saw an inspiring fitness video. Yes, motivation, I would say, is always the end result. You're looking for the end result, but then discipline is as well. So let's go over the source of discipline. We already did the definition. It's of the ability to stick to a plan. So the source, it comes from self-regulation and the establishment of habits and routines. So what do they say? A habit is built from a routine.
Right.
So the motivation, it's almost like if you could motivate yourself for 30 days, I hate to keep bringing in sobriety and stuff like that, but remember when treatment centers were like 28 days, they used to say that 28 days was how long it took to build a habit. And, so if you could try to motivate yourself, which we know is fleeting and short-lived, maybe would that be?
Well, for myself, like I love a good breakfast. It's my favorite meal.
Me too.
And
me too.
Part of me trying to have a self-improved life is obviously dieting, and so how do you get motivated and disciplined to not only still enjoy breakfast like I like to, but keep it healthy and keep it to where you're content and satisfied? And mainly, and this goes back to like our nutrition show, what you can have, like the obscure foods at different times of the day. Like, and I think I've talked about this before, but I've motivated myself to try to eat grilled chicken and eggs or egg whites. I know you get more protein out of eggs,
right?
But I feel like even the egg whites are still kind of, I feel like I get enough protein anyway. So the difference between scrambled eggs and egg whites lacking that protein is going to be fine. And I still feel like I'm kind of hitting a little bit more of a how do you say calorie?
Caloric
difference.
I get it.
Yeah.
I got what you're saying.
So grilled chicken and egg whites it is. And now that I've motivated myself to that habit, I now find myself in that discipline phase.
Yeah.
And even after the Super Bowl, even after kind of being hungover on a Monday, and wanting to eat whatever I wanted to, I did so. But then on Tuesday, reverted right back to the discipline with the egg whites and the grilled chicken.
Yeah, so I agree. Like, I think motivation
to
might
keep that
be
habit
fleeting, and now you're in the discipline phase. Yeah. The nature of discipline is more stable and reliable, obviously, because it doesn't rely on temporary feelings. It requires effort and practice to develop. But I think once that you, it becomes a habit, that's the key. And it takes about 28 days to build a habit, even though treatment centers are now longer than that. But I mean, like, I think that's what it takes. It's about that to like build where you start going, okay, now I'm craving egg whites and chicken.
Right.
An example is you may not feel like running on certain days. I never feel like running. I don't even know why this is. Of course, they use this as an example, but you might not feel like running on certain days, but discipline is what gets you out the door and running because you've committed to a routine. So I wish I would have come up with anything.
This cold weather makes that discipline tough for me.
I'm never disciplined or motivated to run ever. I have to have a coach that tells me to do it, or that's another thing I want to add in. You don't want to pick things that you set yourself up to fail. Some things you have to.
I agree.
Like, I'm never going to have running on my list. That's never going to happen because I'm never going to do it. I don't like running. I would pick like working out or some sort of, other routine. Me for going to the gym and meeting. I like group fitness, or my big, believe it or not, I wanted to mention this because people might find it surprising, but people might also relate to this. And I'm almost a little bit ashamed of it. I am a Pilates trainer, and I teach Pilates reformer, and I teach mat. And mat classes I participate in because I'm the teacher and it's group fitness. And so I'm doing my mobility and I'm doing all those good things for myself. Pilates reformer, the reformer is a piece of equipment that the person lies on and does, and I tell them what to do. So I don't really have to participate. And so like today I have 5 clients. And so I'm doing 5 hours of training Pilates specifically today, and no classes. So I'm not doing any of it. And when I'm done work, I don't get on the Pilates reformer. That's the last thing that I want to do. And so because it is my job, even though I believe in it and I'm passionate about it, and I know how good it is, and I know that it's wonderful. It's easy for me to sell because I know how good it is. Do I do it? Not as much as I should. I'm so embarrassed by it. It's kind of something that I'm a little ashamed of. So it's like, wow, I'm glad I'm saying it on a microphone. But I took this challenge with the new year with a master trainer that has his own kind of little club going, and he was doing 100 days. You could pick anything. Like, you could pick anything, and you could pick, I'm going to eat broccoli every day for 100 days. It's just a group. I thought, oh, this will be a great thing for me. I'm going to get, and he's a Pilates trainer too. I'm going to do 5 minutes. 5 minutes is all I asked of myself of Pilates on the reformer every day for 100 days. They're probably on day 50 now, and I did it once. I had a good excuse for every time. Like, in the beginning of the year, it was really cold and I didn't have the heat right where my reformer was. In fact, I canceled days where I wasn't even working that day. Now my studio is toasty warm. Ask me if I've done it. And maybe me telling on myself right now will help me do it. But I just want to say that I don't feel like I'm failing. I'm not setting myself up for failure. I'm just a little disappointed in myself. So sometimes motivation and discipline aren't enough. Like, I thought to myself, what would I do if it was really life or death situation where I really had to get on that reformer every day? It might be that I'd have to hire someone. I've had to hire trainers in the past. It might be that I'd have to ask for help. So I thought about that. I was like, it all kind of ties in. And if you can't do something yourself, ask for help. Whether it's anything, like eating right, exercise. There's got to be other things that we could pick. I know that this is more of a fitness show, but there's even other things that people need motivation or discipline for. Together, motivation and discipline can be a powerful combination to help you achieve your goals. When motivation wanes, as it often does, discipline helps you stay on track and maintain progress. So I really think they go hand in hand, but they also are totally separate. And without one, you don't have the other. Like, motivation will get you started, where discipline will keep you going. I was listening to YouTube over the weekend. I like going on YouTube, and I was probably on there with us at first, and then I went over to something else, and then you kind of fly all the, I don't know about you, but you're all over. It's kind of cool. YouTube is so fun. And it was a personality thing, and it was an FBI or a CIA or one of those guys, and he was like, discipline came up, and he talked about how people with discipline tend to be more regimented, right? Or discipline, or so it breeds a little bit of trust in others. And I thought that was interesting for somebody like in that career to say. Like, if somebody's very disciplined, it breeds trust. And I thought about that. I was like, that's probably true for a lot of things. Is there a specific goal or area in your life where you're looking to boost motivation or discipline? Well, me would be the reformer. And the Pilates reformer, for those of you that don't know what it is, it's a piece of equipment that really helps with mobility and strength. And I enjoy weight training a lot. I love it. You don't have to, I don't need as much discipline to go to the gym and do CrossFit and weight training, because I really like it. It's fun. There's people there that I enjoy to be around. The coaches are cool. It's just it's not as hard for me. here, the career that I chose to do for a living is the hardest thing for me to do. So I'm kind of glad that I told on myself here. And maybe I will, now that my studio is nice and toasty warm, I can't use that as an excuse, that 5 minutes a day. Today is what? February 11th. I'm going to try. And then I'm going to check in with you next week and tell you how good I did. And I'm not going to lie. Because what was fun about this group, the reason why I thought about joining this group this year, and obviously I'm out, and actually this group is so nice and cool that if I said, hey guys, I want to join in, what day are you on? I want to do the last 40 days. In fact, I think that's what I'll do, because sometimes I need the help of others, like to tell, like I just told on myself here, that will help me get motivated, right? That will bring up the motivation. Then I'll type to the group that I originally was going to start with, and I think it was on January something. So they're on day 50, but it's 100 days. So what? I come in on the halfway point, right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine anybody being upset, because the reason why you are in a group like that is because you need the extra support, right? So I'm looking forward to that. I just solved my own problem. I think what I'll do is go on that site, and I think some people will find humor in it, because what was so cool about last year and what made me want to join this group is because somebody was using drinking as a way. They were going to try and it was so cute because they miserably failed by day 4. And I was like, I totally get that. Here's somebody like me. I would have struggled with that too. I mean, obviously now I'm, I don't struggle with that anymore, but there were plenty of days I understand that. Or now there's a lot of ice cream in my house. My son's home. He's recovering from an injury. So every time, I'm eating more ice cream right now. So discipline and motivation go together, but they're an interesting part of our life that we really need to deal with every single day on a daily, and if things get out of control, don't beat yourself up. Maybe just ask for help.
Yeah. Yep. Or gently hit that restart button and try to get going again.
Yeah, because there's no sense in shame and guilt. That's going to be ridiculous. That's going to be silly and hold you back and maybe keep you unmotivated, right? Like that's just a trick.
For 95% of us, you just talked about alcohol. Alcohol, I think for 95% of us, is the ultimate reckoning in your discipline and your motivation.
Really?
To be honest, at least I think it is.
I would agree. I mean, I'm on a different level of alcohol, but I mean, we call, I'm in recovery, and then there's normies. You're a normie. Right. And I do find it interesting when normies, they struggle with it.
I literally, it's Sundays with football, and that's really about it. Maybe the occasional Friday or Saturday. But that's enough. That's enough to derail it.
Really? Well, I know athletes, when they're in competition, or it's, a lot of the coaches, they don't let them drink at all.
Yeah.
Bodybuilders, they're not allowed to drink at all. Which is why I never did it until I was in my 50s, right? Even when I was sober, a lot of reason why I stayed out of bodybuilding was their eating regimen. Oh my God.
Before this last weekend, I actually went 2 weeks, and I felt like I was on a roll. So I'm going to try to attempt that again, at least go another 2 or 3 weeks. And
what, for drinking?
Yeah, I mean, if
or the chicken and egg white.
No, that I feel like the breakfast is easy at this point now.
Right. And I want to say something about that, not to get off of the other subject, but I think breakfast is a really healthy meal, and it's hard to mess it up, don't you? I mean, I guess if we ate too much toast with, too many carbs, but we need carbs. Like what I've been eating a lot is I like 4 eggs, but I've been doing 3 because my son's living at home right now. So I'm just splitting, like paring things down because of the grocery bill, to be honest with you. So 2 pieces of toast, maybe not for me, but I like 1 piece of toast. I don't stay away from carbs completely, with real butter on it. Split an avocado. So he gets half, I get half. And, we each get 3 eggs, so you can see where I'm going. That way it's only a half a dozen rather than 4. But I'm a 4 egg person.
No, that's a good healthy breakfast.
And then an avocado, and then not very often do we get to have meat with, but if we have it, because a lot of times the meat's coming on the lunch and the dinner. But I really think it's hard to mess up breakfast. If you have meat, add it in. Like even sausage, I know it's high in fat, or even bacon, I know it's high in fat. But if you're not training for something where your diet has to be super strict, don't you think that breakfast is kind of the one where you can kind of go, all right, I'm going to eat. I don't mean to derail you, Steve. I just realized that maybe I was sounding like that, but I think breakfast is a good, healthy meal. And
I think you have to have it. Well, one, okay,
I do too.
Well, this is a whole nother program in itself.
I know you're right.
Here's the thing, people, and you see these medicines like the Ozempics out there, and I'm dealing with this with one of the neighbors right now, and we're actually talking about fitness and motivation with her. And I was telling her to, watch the program. You actually learn something. And she was, no, I just don't want to work out. I don't want to work out. Well, that's not the program. It's not about it's a workout program, but it's not about working out. It's about talking about what we're talking about now, stuff like motivation and discipline. And her shortcut to weight loss is, the Ozempic, which is like a lot of people out there.
I know.
And yes, that'll cut weight, and yes, a lot of the doctors
it works.
Will back it, because at the end of the day, you are losing some weight, and it's still better than having that weight on, regardless of how that weight's getting lost. Now, all that being said, you do not lose weight by reducing meals and skipping meals. You actually reduce weight by adding meals and eating smaller portions and getting your metabolism right.
I'm so glad that you said that.
And you're supposed to do it 5 times a day, but even that's hard for me.
I know,
5 smaller meals, but 4 good meals and a healthy snack is a good way to do it. And the key with that is all starting off the day right with a good solid breakfast.
And breakfast is, I'm not the greatest cook. I'm just not. It's just not one of the things I'm that good at. And breakfast, even I can do and feel comfortable and feel like, presenting it, even cooking for someone else. I can cook breakfast.
A lot of times, if you can cook this healthy breakfast, eat a good salad for lunch.
I know.
Or turkey sandwich or whatever the case may be. A healthy snack. If you can do all that for your first 3 meals, then you can actually kind of waver off the tracks a little bit for your dinner and get a little bit more exotic and not worry so much about what you're putting in your body at dinner time. You get a lot more flexibility if you keep the meals good early and make it easy upon yourself. Now, let's face it, when you eat lunch, you don't want to overstuff yourself and make yourself feel bad.
I know, right? Because you have a whole
rest of the day
to go. I know.
So a grilled chicken salad or something, grilled tuna and salad or something is always a good option. But if you basically have, 4 slots in a day, and you give yourself a check mark for breakfast, a check mark for lunch, a check mark for a healthy snack, you can kind of afford an X. That for dinner for, not the best meal maybe. Because at the end of the day, you're getting 3 check marks out of 4, which isn't perfect. But when you add all those check marks to X's together, you're still at a 75% better rate than what you would have been in the first place.
I agree. I like that theory. And I feel like Weight Watchers, they do a lot of trading off and on. There's rewarding. I think that I don't know that Weight Watchers does that, but they used to. I think it's like that in life, period.
And you know,
in period, eating, working
yeah.
out, anything, like try not to be over like full of shame or whatever if you mess up.
And at dinner time, it's a simple, this is all the difference in the world is, okay, I want a big old cheeseburger. Okay, that's fine. But you know what? Just take the bread off.
I was just going to say, is that bad for you? I'm so terrible because I'm a weight trainer and I'm trying to build muscle.
Not at all. Because I mean, you can eat a pound of ground beef and bacon
I'm
onion and some veggies and
I'm petite, so I'm always trying to build muscle and I'm lucky. I do realize that I've got a great metabolism and but I do eat a lot. And I agree with Steve. The cheeseburger part, is that really bad for you? Oh, I didn't know that. Granted, I do take the bun off if I'm trying to drop a few, the fat part. But I actually need carbs because I burn a lot. But yes, if I'm making cheeseburgers at home, I tend to give everybody else a bun and me no bun sometimes, or half of the bun, because right now I have these really good Kaiser rolls and I cut the burger in half, believe it or not, because I'm trying to check to make sure that it's cooked all the way through, but then I get half of that roll.
Right.
So yeah, and like I said, if you're not training for some competition or some big athletic team, give yourself some grace. Our society is very all or nothing. I was thinking about how we talked about, I don't know if it was last week or the week before. Oh, I think it was last week because we were talking about like push up and the deadlift and the squat, what's your favorite exercise one? And you had brought up, all the Instagram stuff. I think that with all the, these platforms, these social media platforms, there's a lot of uneducated, should I say?
Yes. Yeah, completely.
Trainers, or that they're not, I didn't mean to call them trainers. They don't even call themselves trainers. They call themselves influencers.
Yeah.
So if they're not
hybrid athlete, I've seen and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, so I think it's changed the industry a lot, and I haven't been able to think about it long enough. It's only been a week, but it really kind of made a light bulb moment for me, because sometimes I feel really under appreciated and I feel like people don't realize all the knowledge that I have. And granted, I'm kind of humble. I'm not going to run around talking about it, but and my peers that are in this industry with me, like how many of I've had coaches that are so smart and educated, and I feel like people think if you say you're a fitness trainer or you say you're a coach, because of Instagram and all that silly ass stuff, we've lost a little bit of our I don't know what to call it, but it really, I think we need to be, like, a lot of us are very humble and don't even really want to talk about ourselves. We like talking about exercise and stuff like that. And I think now we're going to have to start really telling people who we are, what our accolades are, and what we specialize in, because of the way the social media is. It kind of waters everything down. I guess that's what I'm trying to say,
Mm-hmm.
where there's nobody knows the difference between what I am versus an influencer who,
the big one that's on the exercises alone is the bench press. You know how many people I see arching their back in an extreme motion when they're on the bench press?
I thought that we were
with their bottom
supposed to do that.
With their bottom of their back off the bench and kind of like at a full arch. You see it all the time. No, people.
I know, right?
That's not, and you'll see some people, you're like, damn, I thought you were actually really a good athlete and stuff. Now, people will argue this, that this is the wrong philosophy, but you need to keep your back buried against that bench and your back flat against that bench when you're doing a bench press. That's how you're engaging that chest better. You're not putting yourself in a vulnerable position at the end of the day. And that's just one of the things out there, like
influencers, yeah.
How I can tell, look, this person really doesn't know, or they're showing themselves on the deadlift machines because they have those deadlift type of machines now, and they'll kind of go down a little bit, and when they come up, they're not standing tall. I'm not talking about the
right
over exaggerated arch again.
Yeah,
but they're not even coming to a complete stand up. You know,
yeah, you got to squeeze your butt. That's how you know you're standing. Yeah, right.
It gets to about 11 o'clock with their upper body,
right?
Not 12 o'clock,
right?
And not engaging that full butt core or whatever.
I'm glad you said that about the flat back, because Pilates is big on that. We have neutral
spine.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, you got to keep that spine buried into the bench and stuff. Right?
Yeah, neutral spine, which is obviously neutral, where it's just got the natural curves. And then there's a lot of classical Pilates where you pull your abs in, tuck your tailbone under even a little bit and press that low back. And I often say press. I don't mean that. You're gently, it's not pressing. That's me. That's my personality, is you're pulling your abs in, engaging your pelvic floor, and pressing. No, there's that press again, pulling your spine down onto the carriage or mat. So yes, flat. Then you go into the weight room and it's the same thing. You want to be as flat as possible so the pecs do engage. If you're arched, it doesn't even make any sense. Nothing makes sense arched. Nothing does.
Yeah,
if you think about it. Nothing. So I'm grateful that, yeah, you brought that up. But kind of to wrap things up, I'll just repeat, really, together, motivation and discipline can be a powerful combination to help you achieve your goals. When motivation wanes, as it often does, discipline helps you stay on track and maintain progress. So what is the takeaway? Okay, I told myself I'm going to try and do the Pilates Reformer. So I'm going to go join that group. So my takeaway would be, if you can't do it yourself, if you can't, ask for help. And I think that's for anything. Like, I'm going to ask that group if I can come in halfway through the challenge. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that might push back. I doubt it, but a lot of people that are going to crack up laughing and going, I totally get it. Come on in. Because people appreciate authenticity. People appreciate if you're having a rough time on something, who cares? Just say I'm having a rough time, start from there. I forget what you had said months ago. I loved it. How, I forget. Oh, I can't think of it. How, and it was about starting new, starting over, start fresh. So what if you, I actually kind of ate a little bit crappy this past weekend with the Super Bowl. And I'll admit, I felt it yesterday. I could feel it in my tummy, and I was like, wow, that's why I probably shouldn't eat junk food that often. It doesn't make me feel good, later.
Yep.
But
gently hit that reset button.
Yeah. And I just happily just reset yesterday. Here we are, and getting through the week, and I feel fine again. And it'll remind me, the last time I ordered a pizza, I struggled because I don't really eat pizza. Not that I have anything against pizza. Pizza's actually really it can be kind of good for you. But the tomato sauce, the acid, and I don't eat it enough. It's like some things you have to practice more, like drinking. This is a great way to end out. When I was still drinking, I worked at the Norfolk Yacht and Country Club, and I went into work and I won't mention any names because this is a long time ago. None of us are all still there anymore. But I went in, I had the coolest boss. And because no matter what, I came to work. Like there were times I took a cab in because I had been partying all night long and I had a morning class. And I was like, damn, I could get a DUI heading in. But it's exercise. Go in, do your job, leave. It's easier than just quit it. Than canceling, right? But I was like, God, I'm so hungover. My boss looked at me and she goes, you need to practice more. And I loved it. Or then she was like, you need to drink clean. And I was like, what do you mean by that? She goes, the clear, don't drink, drink clean, drink vodka, drink stuff like that. Something so you're not going to be hungover. And I was like, oh, okay. And I thought, wow, what a nice boss. What a cool boss. And she wouldn't have been cool if I hadn't showed up, but
I think that's a good thing for me is because vodka's been my drink of choice to try to drink clean. I'm vodka'd out, man. I'm so sick of it.
Now. Maybe. Yeah, that's a good thing.
I don't even want it now. And beer too. Actually,
those are my favorites.
We know a lot of Michelob Ultra drinkers out there.
Yeah, I was one.
You want one way to quit drinking beer? Keep Michelob Ultra in your fridge because you can't drink more than 3 of those. Because one, it's hard to get a buzz off of. 2, you're just like, what am I doing? I'm starting to feel bloated and gross.
Really?
And then, yeah. So if you want to quit drinking beer, just keep Mick Ultra in your fridge.
That's so funny. I did quit drinking Mick Ultra. That was the last beer that I drank. So maybe there's really something to that. Oh my God, that's so funny. That is funny. Yeah, maybe we should end with that. Thanks, Steve. It's always such a pleasure.
No problem. Thank you, Karen.
Woo! Yay!
All right, everybody. Have a good week.
Have a great week.